Today we're covering 7th grade, Chapter 7, Lesson 2, Solve One-Step Equations. And if you have a textbook, this is page 511 to 520. We have several vocabulary words to look over today, starting with coefficient. Coefficient is the numerical factor of a term. Numerical means number. So the 3 and the 5 are both the numerical factor. So the coefficient is 3 or the coefficient is 5. Then we have several properties to go over. Start with the subtraction property. The subtraction property of equality states if you subtract the same number from both sides, the two sides remain equal. Now there's a very specific way to write this down, so we need to start practicing. When we subtract two numbers, we write like this, and the answer goes underneath it. Sometimes students write crazy things like this, and it just drives me nuts. So let's practice writing it correctly. So we're looking at the equation 8 equals b plus 5. Next to the variable, they are adding 5. We're going to do the opposite, which is subtracting 5. And if I subtract 5 from one side, I have to go do it to the other. Think of this equal sign as a great big wall. And if we do something on one side of the wall, we've got to go do it to the other side to be fair. Got to be fair. They want us to do it on both sides. Stay balanced. So on the left side of the wall, we have 8 minus 5, which gives us 3. And don't forget to bring down the equal sign straight down, still on the wall. And then 5 minus 5 would be 0. So they've canceled out, and the only thing left is b. So as long as you subtract the same number from both sides, the equation stays equal, and we can solve for a variable. Next is the addition property of equality, which states if you add the same number to both sides, the two sides remain equal. So in this one, we are subtracting 5 from the variable. The opposite of subtracting 5 is adding 5. So I'm going to add 5 on this side. And again, think of that equal sign as a wall. We got to stay balanced. So we do the same thing on both sides. So I have added a 5 on both sides of the equation. 8 plus 5 gives me 13, equal sign straight down. And minus 5 and positive 5, they cancel. And only b is left. So 13 is equal to b. Next is the division property of equality, which states if you divide both sides by the same number, the two sides remain equal. So this time, the equation is 3 times x. So we're multiplying times the variable. The opposite would be to divide. And we show divide by making a fraction bar. So this is dividing by 3. And again, need my wall. Divide by 3 on the other side to keep my equation balanced. Well, 3 divided by 3 would be 1, and 1x is just x. Equal sign straight down. And on the other side, I have 15 divided by 3, which is 5. X is equal to 5. Remember, you must do it to both sides. Last, we have the multiplication property. Multiplication property of equality, which states if you multiply both sides by the same number, the two sides remain equal. So I have b divided by 4 equals 9. The opposite of division is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply this side times 4 and this side times 4 because we must keep it balanced. So if you're multiplying a whole number times a fraction, remember we stick a 1 under there, and then we could simplify and we would still get just b. So if you do the opposite, it cancels. Just remember, if you do the opposite, it cancels. And then on the other side, we have 9 times 4, which is 36. If you do the same thing to both sides, the equation will stay balanced. Let's look at a couple of extra examples just so you can see what we expect of you. We're going to look at a plus 4 equals 11. And I know you could do some of these in your head because surely you know what we could add to 4 that would equal 11. But I need you to practice the steps because eventually we're going to get longer problems and we need to practice the baby steps first. So first we look at the variable. That would be the a. What are they doing to a? They're adding 4. So we're going to do the opposite. Subtract 4 from both sides, remember. And when we have 4 minus 4, we get 0. So they've canceled, and a is by himself. Equal sign straight down. And 11 minus 4 equals 7. And that's the answer. Number 3. We have k divided by negative 11, which equals negative 3. So what are they doing to the variable k? Dividing by negative 11. So we need to multiply. We're going to do the opposite of division, which is multiply. So times negative 11 on both sides. The negative 11s cancel. K comes straight down. Equal sign straight down. Negative 3 times negative 11 makes positive 33. And you can always plug it back in to the equation and see if that's what we get. So if I plugged in 33 where the k is, it would be 33 divided by negative 11, which is negative 3, so that's correct. Okay, let's look at some of the questions you're supposed to be doing. For example, we have negative 12 times k equals negative 60. So what are they doing to the variable? Multiplying. So we're going to do the opposite, which would be divide by negative 12. And you have to do it on both sides. The 12s cancel, and k is by himself. Equal sign straight down. And then negative 60 divided by negative 12 makes 5. That's positive 5 because a negative divided by a negative makes a positive. And when you put your answers in the computer, you can put k equals 5 or you can just put 5. Let's look at number 3 here. We have x divided by negative 16 equals 1. Well, what are they doing to the x? Dividing by negative 16. So the opposite of dividing by negative 16 is multiplying by negative 16. So I'm going to multiply by negative 16. That makes the 16s cancel. And on the left, I have just x equals 1 times negative 16, which is negative 16. Let's look at another one. We have on number 6, negative 1 equals x divided by 6. So the variable's on a different side, but we still do it the same way. What are we doing to the variable? Dividing by 6. So we do the opposite, which is multiply by 6. So if I multiply by 6 on both sides, on the left I have 6 times negative 1, which is negative 6, equal sign straight down. And on the right side, the 6's cancel, and x is by himself. Last question. Levon sold 4 times as many raffle tickets as Kenneth. Levon sold 56 raffle tickets. How many tickets did Kenneth sell? Well, on yours, you are supposed to write an equation. That's all. We're not going to solve it. You're just writing the equation. And I'm going to help you get started. Levon sold 56. That's the total. You figure out what goes on the other side. And the variable you're supposed to use is k.